Pan-Africanism on the map. And since he's been around, this is their leader.
Some of these zesties. Let me block some of these zest fests. Somebody said they oiling up. I got a funny feeling that's a man. I think that's a zest fest. So I'm gonna block him out. Because there's no face. That might be a zest fest.
Black women, is y'all need to form your own self-defense groups, because black men obviously are too busy sniffing after bunny behind. Stop spending all your money on hair and nails and get you some damn protection, because the brother busy sniffing bunny booty.
Let me answer that. The reason why certain men and women sound angry, that's because they are angry. Their life ain't where it wanted to be. When people's life is in order and it's on track and their goals are like reachable, you're cool, you're calm, you're not angry. When you're angry, that's because your life is in chaos. It ain't where you want it to be. When you hear Uncle Ruckus talk, why is he so angry all the time, shouting and yelling, calling people names? People's lives are not where they want it to be. Me, I'm by Ron. Yo, my trajectory is so lit. That's why, you know what I mean? I be having fun with this, man.
So you're gonna have to arm yourselves, ladies.
Snow bunny. Brothers, if you suffering from the snow bunny crisis and you need snow bunny therapy, $75 an hour on the telephone, $100 on the video. Black men suffering from the snow bunny crisis, I do give out snow bunny rehab life coaching sessions. Text me 215-989-9858. Black women, if you suffer from snow puppy addiction, Lapita and that other sister who both dating that white male, she divorcing the same white man Lapita dating. Lapita, you need some Wakanda snow puppy therapy. Lapita, please reach out to Dr. Umar for some Wakanda Forever snow puppy therapy. 215-989-9858. You said you need some yellow bunny therapy, some brown bunny therapy, some red bunny therapy, some white bunny therapy. I'm the man you need right here. All the credentials, all the degrees. I'm the man you need. Text me up.
Your girlfriend is white, but you have 10 years experience. Can you work at?
Yeah. So when they tell you that Tariq Nasheed is your leader, which no, he's not. We don't have a leader. We're grown adults. We don't need a leader. I'm 48 years old. I'm 48 years old. What is it like with a leader? Are you serious? Yo, I'm by Ron. I need you to get in your car and go to Maryland. There's a conference. Like, are you serious? Like, I would laugh at somebody who called me and said, yo, I'm by Ron. I need you to get to, let's say, Atlanta, Georgia. Like my so-called leader. Hey, man, I need you to get to Atlanta, Georgia. I did a conference. I need you to go there. And man, I'll be like, man, if you don't, man, I'm going to block you. FBAs, we ain't got no leader. The code is the leader. The lineage is the leader. You dig? But this is their leader.
At the school, you and I both know the answer to that question. I don't know why you asked it. You and I both know the answer to that question. I don't know why you asked it. No disrespect to my rainbow brothers, but I know y'all operating at low frequency because your wires are twisted. You know how you twist the wires on the car? My rainbow brothers, you're operating at a low frequency. Your wires are twisted up. That's right. I just did a 2-hour spiritual seminar on detoxing yourself of negative energy, and here you come with your snow bunny demon energy. I repute you and I reject you. I just want to meditate and get all the negative coon energies off me. That's coon, C-O-O-N. That's coon, K-E-W-N. That's coon, K-H-U-N-S. I got to get all the coon energies off me, brothers and sisters.
I like what you're doing, Dr. Umar. Beautiful black skin. Juicy J, are you a male or female? Juicy J, thank you for the $5. Are you a male or female? Because I don't want no man fantasizing about my beautiful golden brown skin. Because I don't want no man giving me compliments on my skin. That sounds a little zesty, and we do not do zest.
It's going to be heaven on earth. But if you get put in the book of Negroes, don't vibrate too low, because I'm going to have to put you in the book of Negroes. Do not vibrate too low. Stop worrying about my arms. Somebody get that brother some testosterone tablets. Stop worrying about my arms, brother. Somebody get that brother some testosterone. There we go.
The dear brother that's in the chat told me once upon a time, and I don't know if he still stick by this, but he told me, right? If you the smartest person in the room, get out that room. Get out that room. And so, Ron, you was in the chat, you were saying a lot of things, talking about coming over there to your panel, this, that, and the third, because you're trying to have these mini debates where there's just conversations, no real informations or no presentations or none of that. I'm not going over there where I'm the smartest person in the room. That's why Rob Bourne was calling you out, bro, because you claim to be unbiased, FBA, whatever you done turned yourself into, but you don't know anything about Black history, right? You don't know anything about the culture. You don't know nothing. But you want us to have a conversation with you, or you want us to show up over there on your channel. The dear brother that's in the chat told me once upon a time, and I don't know if he still stick by this, but he told me, right? If you the smartest person in the room, get out that room. Get out that room. And so, Ron, you was in the chat, you were saying a lot of things, talking about coming over there to your panel, this, that, and the third, because you're trying to have these mini debates where there's just conversations, no real informations or no presentations or none of that. I'm not going over there where I'm the smartest person in the room. That's why Rob Bourne was calling you out, bro, because you claim to be unbiased, FBA, whatever you done turned yourself into, but you don't know anything about Black history, right? You don't know anything about the culture. You don't know nothing. But you want us to have a conversation with you, or you want us to show up over there on your channel. The dear brother that's in the chat told me once upon a time, and I don't know if he still stick by this, but he told me, right?
Prepared for the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They just was shooting from the hip. There's another guy that we both agree lie all the time. Lie all the time. Pseudo Ron Pseudo. Lies all the time about everything. They can't have a coherent conversation about anything. And that conversation we had with those two brothers, and Ron Pseudo picked it up and he run it on his channel. He got about 1,000 videos with it. I appreciate the free commercials. I appreciate it, brother.
Me too.
Now, I mean, I really do. The marketing strategy is spectacular.
I mean, my wife said, he called me the whole Teddy Ruxpin. My wife said at least he picked something cute. So at least he cuddly and cute. Ron, thank you for picking something cute, brother. I mean, this is the first time I ever said his name because he comes under my comments and he wants me to debate him, and he says, come on over.
Yeah, so, hey, look, man, like I said, those guys.
All right, so family, you see that? Your boy is active. Okay, so you see everybody says my name, they watch the content, but they don't want to engage with me. They'll talk about us, but they won't talk to us. You dig? And Teddy Ruxpin, Dr. Teddy Ruxpin, I feel like he got potential. But these guys, you gotta understand, family, because I be trying to think, like, hold on, Dr. Ruxpin, like you got all to lose to be on the wrong side, which is Pan-Africanism. You got all to lose, my guy. You got everything to gain to be down with the lineage, to represent the lineage. Why would you choose a spiraling down position? Why would you choose a position that's guaranteed to fail over an irrefutable, indisputable position like FBA, Adolf, the Senator Freeman, if he's actually that? And I'm like, yo, these people got to be paid off. Who takes a losing side? Who's actually a doctor? Who's articulate? Who's smart? Who gets it? Dr. Ruxpin, he gets it. He's a social political scientist, some shit like that. Like he overstands what we're talking about. Like he could put it in words that we can never desire. You feel me? It's just like, so he understands everything. Why do you choose a losing position like Pan-Africanism, which is really the worship of fucking piece of shit Africans? Okay, I'm gonna be real. Pan-Africanism. All that is, you're kissing the ass of disgusting, dusty, mud-eating, cat dog-eating Africans. Cow pissing on their head, clicking and popping Africans. You're kissing their ass. Primitive people who accomplish absolutely nothing, who will never accomplish shit, who will always be at the thumb of white supremacy, who cosplay us. These are backwards people, okay, who sold us to slavery. Why would you choose a losing, inevitable, down spiraling position over rocking with a lineage that has so much, the ceiling is so high for all of us. The momentum is with us. This is a winning position. And for them to choose to kiss the ass of dusty, musty, filthy, disgusting Africans, it just confirms my without my speculation that these guys worship Africans at the same time. It's a dichotomy. They worship Africans and they hate Black Americans. They hate us so much that they call us African American. They won't dare call us Black. They hate family. They hate the word Black low key. They call us African American, African American. They will not say Black, but then they'll at some point say African American and Black is interchangeable, but they'll never say Black. They'll always consistently say African American. They hate the word Black. These are disgusting people, man, who sold us out. And tonight will be an expose on these guys. Okay, Dr. Ruxpin? You got Asar Hotep Frankenstein, and you got Uncle Ruckus, who just babbles, don't understand nothing. He got ADHD on a whole nother level. He got ADHD. If anybody's aware of anybody with ADHD, Uncle Ruckus definitely got that. He can't sit down. I played a video earlier today, this morning. He watched it. It was a replay of my discussion with Uncle. This guy just cuts me off. He's misrepresenting me. He won't even take 3 seconds to even understand where I'm going before cutting in. And people gave me, on a comment, people gave me so much credit to be patient with this guy. I was like his therapist. He's cutting me off disrespectfully all the time, and I kept my cool. So I got comments saying, I don't know how you were able to weather that storm. They gave me credit for being so patient with this ADHD dude. Cut me off every 2 words. Wrong as hell. Wrong as 2 left arms, 2 left hands. And I was just so patient. He was trying to gaslight me. I didn't fall for none of it. And yeah, man, I really didn't fall for none of what he was hoping I fell for. Okay, so I'm trying to find a particular video. Hold on. I think I found it. So let me just do this. Okay, I found it. So we're talking about a guy who just blabs. He has zero understanding, zero comprehension. He just blabs. Listen to this.
Examples: Freedmen's Bureau, Freedmen's Schools. Identity and meaning of African American. A broad cultural, ethnic, and racial identity for people of African descent in the U.S. Okay, so you can get to the U.S. and you be classified as an African American, no matter where you come from, right? Caribbean. And watch this. Encompasses descendants of enslaved Africans and immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean. It says emphasizes cultural continuity. Go ahead. What you saying, Doc?
I want to interject really quickly, Unc. And this is why.
So Unc Ruckus was doing a presentation that was going nowhere, right? He's just babbling. He does not understand what he's reading or what he's saying. He just was given a script and he's reading it like a teleprompt, but he doesn't understand it. So Dr. Mama Mayat stopped him midway of his presentation to say this. Listen.
When you and I were arguing on the telephone, so I want the family to know, and maybe the people who are just watching us don't know, that a lot of these conversations that we have publicly are birthed from arguments that Unc and I have behind closed doors.
right? And I was privy to some of these conferences. I was on the phone call with an unc by himself, me and ex-architect, and then me, unc, Ruckus, ex-architect, and Sheffrin. Sheffrin and unc have been proven to either be basically retarded or deceptive. Like they pretend that they don't understand what we're saying when we talk about delineation. I mean, like a 6 and 7 year old can understand what we're saying. All right. So look what she said. She said, "Hey, me and Unc be having private conversations on the phone, and family, I still currently have private conversations with Unc on the phone, and Unc and Sheffrin and all these clowns, the pseudo clubs, they would not allow me to record the phone call. So if what you're saying is sincere and all truthful and it's anti-pseudo, then why I can't record a copy? See, the recording family, the reason why people record is to put you in a position to guarantee integrity. See, people ain't gonna lie when it's recorded. That's why when you get called, if they're collecting a debt or a court call you, they're gonna say, "Hey, this phone call," or if you gotta like do let's say if you're behind your car note, right, and they call you, they're gonna record it, right? Because they want you to be honest about your situation. They want you to be honest about your situation. They don't want you to give them a random lie. You dig? So every time we ask, "Hey, can we record this phone call?" They'll say no. So like, so we know this dude is just ain't shit. He's Unc Ruckus. He won't record. He won't let us record. Now I can illegally. I mean, I could just record anyway. You feel me? I can actually record, but I don't because I'm like, you know what? It ain't worth it. Like this guy is so much of a liar and piece of shit. He won't allow us to record any of our private conversations. Now, look, family, you do know you have the option to record it as well. So it ain't like we got to only record it. You can record too, but the dude doesn't want it recorded because he knows he's lying. So listen to Dr. Ancient Mama Mayat experience with Unc on a private phone call.
This is why when you and I talk, I say listeners don't know that a lot of these conversations that we have publicly are birthed from arguments that Unc and I have behind closed doors. This is why when you and I talk, I say, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? No, we shouldn't throw it away. I say, Unc.
So Dr. Ancient Mama Mayat said, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? And she said, Unc said, no. So these people are family. These are agents. I don't know who's they're hired by, Russia, some piece of shit country in Africa, or the United States government. I don't know. But he is clearly on payroll. So his own team member, a doctor, Mayat, that he believes is articulate, bright, special. How can she get what we're saying, but he doesn't? Family. So one more time, she said, "Hey, you don't look. She's going over their private phone calls. So she's saying, I heard you out, and your argument is stupid. You don't believe we should throw African American away. You don't see the irrefutable argument of unbiased Ron. You don't see that."
Don't I have behind a lot of these conversations that we have publicly are birthed from arguments that Unc and I have behind closed doors. This is why when you and I talk, I say, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? No, we shouldn't throw it away. I say, Unc, it is not specific to our lineage here in America.
Is not specific to our lineage here in America. This is Dr. Maya. This is his OG. This is his big homie. She agrees with us. Vice Ron ain't making this stuff up. This does not specifically speak to the lineage. We should throw it away and use a term that's specific to the lineage. Oh, no. This is his well-respected scholar, Dr. Mayat.
When I talk, I say, Unc, you don't know that a lot of these conversations that we have publicly are birthed from arguments that Unc and I have behind closed doors. This is why when you and I talk, I say, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? No, we shouldn't throw it away. I say, Unc, it is not specific to our lineage here.
So you got Dr. Mayat, a Pan-African, who agrees. That's what I'm trying to say, family. But for Dr. Mayat to not be 10 toes down, for Dr. Ruxpin to not be 10 toes down, they are actually worse than Unc because these people are highly educated, highly articulate, and they could like really express our position better than most of us. But they won't. These guys are agents, man.
When you and I talked, I said, Unc, you don't think we should throw the term African American away? No, we shouldn't throw it away. I said, Unc, it's not specific to our lineage here in America. Anybody that comes over here who's a descendant, who is of African descent, can claim to be an African American. This is why I said I do believe that we should have a name that is specifically for us, that other Black immigrants cannot come into the country and hijack. And you,
other immigrants, you're talking about the African descendants, can come into the country and hijack. So we have Dr. Ancient Mama Maya on our side, representing our position, our talking point. She get it. But this dude, Unc, I don't know what's up with him, whether he's on that narcotic, I don't know, is he drunk or he's paid off, but somehow none of what I'm saying means anything to him. Nothing the chat is saying, Tariq Nasheed, Yvette Carnell, nothing Dr. Maya is saying. Like this dude is fully committed into his position, which is anti-lineage. So even his own team members are saying, hey, take another look at it before you be 10 toes down on his anti-FBA position. Just listen and take another look at it. We need a specific term for us. Listen to this guy that some people suspect still on drugs, allegedly. Some people suspect he's on maybe that some type of alcoholic beverage. But and some people just say he's got ADHD where he can't just get it. Like he's mentally suppressed. He just can't get it. Okay, but people from our side is trying to get to him, and people from the people he rocks with can't reach this guy. So we can't reach him, and neither can a Pan-African reach him. So that means that there's one common denominator. If you up Ruckus, your own people is trying to set you straight. Dude, something is up with you. Either you're on that narcotic or, bro, you're just a paid agent. Also, like, and I ain't talking about no real money, some welfare stuff.
were you were like, no, African American, they know who's who, and you went through all that. But in your slide, these two bullets talk about exactly what I was arguing on the.
So she said, in your own presentation, your 2 bullet points, you're agreeing with unbiased Ron, FBA News and Updates, the lineage, FBA. What you're presenting on the screen right now, you're supporting unbiased Ron position. You can't be that dumb. You can't be that under the influence to not see that. She's trying to let them know, like, dude, what's up with you, bro? Like, you got some other agenda going on here.
Telephone that day, but please continue.
I know I'm sharp as a harp, though.
Okay, so he just dispelled everything she said. So he's sharp as a heart. That means she's not. That means she's missing something. Not him. His scholar, Dr. Maya, she's missing something. She ain't getting it. She's in a cult, I guess. You could say she's in a cult because he says all of us are in a cult. So Dr. Maya is in a cult, according to But apparently she's too dumb to see that she's correct in that position and she's FBA. Right? This is embarrassing, man. The dude went against a woman who he believes is smart, wise, educated, got a doctorate degree. Yeah, this is a piece of trash guy, man, that has an agenda. And we're not sure if he's under the influence or he's under payroll. But something's not adding up, man. And we got to find out what that is. And that's going to come in due time. That's going to come in due time. All right, hold on. Let me see if I got her saying this. Okay, check this out. So this is Dr. Mayat again. She's going to say she's ADOS.
Explained to Brother Ankh earlier, I embrace any of those terms. I do embrace FBA. I do embrace ADOS. I do embrace freedmen. Any of those terms that describe the lineage that I just discussed with you, I embrace those terms. Now, what I don't embrace is the misinformation associated with those terms.
Okay, so she was able to separate FBA from an explanation, a definition from an explanation. She was smart enough to do that, educated enough to do that. But she said she embraced FBA, she embraced ADOS, she embraced descendants of freedmen. But her wild pit bull named Unc Ruckus, this dude has an agenda, man. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Okay, but I want y'all to hear from her own mouth. She identifies as FBA. Okay. So now let's get to Dr. Ruxpin, Asar Hotep, and Unc Ruckus. Let's cook. All right. So give me a second. Let's get them out of here. Y'all don't mind, do you?
I'm a part. I'm telling you.
Our family.
And I'm proud. I'm telling you, you're gonna get your mind back.
Peace and power, family. Dr. Dahl back in the building, in here with a special guest, and we're gonna jump in here real strong. We're not gonna be long, as they say, but we're gonna come strong. And I want to set the atmosphere before we get in here with an elder. You know, I call this libation.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right, so let's break down that quote, that infamous quote from Dr. Booty Scratcher, John Henry Clark. Okay, so what he did right there, that's called emotional chanting. That is not an argument. Okay, so they repeat it like a hymn. Okay, because they have no evidence that claiming Africa yields any measurable benefit for foundational Black Americans in the U.S. Okay, so while chanting and claiming Africa seems like the thing to do, we want to know, how does that help us get housing protection, anti-discrimination enforcement, or reparations? Does chanting affect Congress, legislators, or just their YouTube algorithm where they put FBA in their title every chance they get? Okay, so we don't debate our we only debate our peers. All others I teach. Okay, again, that's a psychological shield. They pre-declare victory before addressing a single point from any one of us who represents FBA. So what they do is, by using that chant, they announce themselves as the winner before the actual debate or discussion starts. Okay, before we can defend our claims and argue them. So what I say to those folks, Dr. John Henry Clark, and those who use that chant, if your evidence is so strong, you don't need a preemptive ego bubble. You don't got to say that. Just get it popping. You dig? All right. Anyway, so let's go into more of their shenanigans.
Wes, aka Bobby Banger, in the building. And what do you bring to this conversation?
Man, what I bring to the conversation is a wealth of knowledge gained through fighting, my own pseudoisms and misinformation.
You heard that? His own pseudos, he's fighting against it. I'll back that up in case I missed that. So he's admitting he's goofy. He's a goofy. his own pseudoisms and misinformation. We're going to point out a lot on this live tonight.
And what I bring to the conversation is a wealth of knowledge gained through fighting, my own pseudoisms and misinformation. We just didn't have, in this particular space, we didn't have elders that were scientifically literate. All of them was gone. Dr. Ben was on his deathbed for real. Too old to even have the conversation around science and science literacy and the importance of using that to dig your history up with the scholarly sources and things of that nature. Diop's Ben was gone. So, I came into the community, the elders was very pseudo-scientific. They wasn't academically ready for the rigors of the study to give us our real history. So, I come with that wealth of knowledge of changing the field.
Okay. So the claim that he's so scientific literate, but then he spends this entire video, which is 2 hours. He spent 2 hours defending non-scientific claims about culture, identity, and history that actually contradict anthropology science, census history, and ethnographic data. He's a fraud. He's a scammer. My guy, how are you science-based when your entire argument relies on emotions, misquotes, and redefining words? Okay, no peer-reviewed data or historical documentation. You're a fraud. You're a fraud, my guy. Let's further expose it.
The FBA, man, we just time enough for it. They can't get that off around us these days. They're not gonna be able to get that off, man. It's too much now, too much information, bro.
Okay, so now I played a recap of this guy and myself talking earlier. This guy said that Africans didn't dominate the slave trade as far as kidnapping us and selling us to white people. He tried to blame the slave raid, which is the kidnapping and selling of us, on the Portuguese and Dutch. This fool, he said that. And I cooked him in our discussion. Like, yo, you didn't know Africans did that? And then he comes on Sanetta a year later and try to argue that he sided with that. So I played that video that we had. Like, nah, this dude was saying Africans were innocent of this transatlantic slave trade. Like, dude is out of his mind. So now he's popping his collar. Oh, it's too much information today. Okay, the one thing they don't do, family, I want y'all to just write this stuff down, what they're never going to do. They're never going to cite census category evolution. They're never going to cite ethnic group criteria. They're never going to cite legal definitions or claimant classes. They're never going to cite case law regarding lineage-based benefits. Okay, they rely solely on confidence, ego bumping, no evidence. But I got this for you guys. Confidence is not scholarship. Okay, so if too much knowledge exists, according to Punk Ruckus, why didn't you use any? Why didn't you use the knowledge in this 2-hour video? Why avoid the actual criteria of delineation, which will destroy your entire argument completely, family? These guys don't want to talk about delineation, reparations. They want to talk about personal beliefs, explanations. On Tariq's website, he defines who FBA is. People who are descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, and he puts a period. So that's it. The definition is set of who FBA is. And then he goes on to explain who he personally believes fit that definition. So I want y'all to hear me clearly. Tariq Nasheed has a strict, definitive definition of who is FBA. And it's just simple. People who experience U.S. chattel slavery. That's the definition of FBA. That's separate from what he says next. So when Tariq Nasheed created his flag, that is separate from the definition. This is who Tariq Nasheed personally fits the criteria of who is FBA. That's a personal assumption that's totally separate from the definition. The definition is clear cut. It's clear cut. If you experience U.S. chattel slavery and you've been involved in our ethnopolitics, ethnoculture, all that from that time all the way to now, you're FBA. But a personal explanation that's totally separate from the definition, you can't do that. That's a bad faith connecting of dots, which they do. All right. So let's go further. Like they're embarrassing themselves on the net.
Move the goalposts. It doesn't matter. And they won't even concede. I realize they won't concede. I asked the brother, will you concede to that point? No, what you do is you say, but, and then you keep moving on with something else.
Let me start out the super chats. We got Bug Horse $5 super chats from Many Love. He says, I'm cracking the F up. I can't hold my belly, y'all. And then we had another super chat from FBA Convo, $5, Lenny's Love. He said, keep the discussion going, FBA family. Thanks to all FBAs in the building. For sure. I'm on them. I'm on their bumper calls, but I'm on them. And I'm going to stay debunking all of their videos. They can't do nothing with me. The link is pinned. Okay, watch this. And what they don't discuss is delineation and reparations. Everything else, family, is a side topic. It's a personal viewpoint of one of us out of the 43 million. Okay. When I say who's black and who's not, family, that's personal. That's my own argument. That's not the argument of necessarily FB Convo, TJ, Tyre Carter, Buckhorse, Donnie C. Williams. That's not necessarily the argument of D or Berber. You dig? Wild Williams. Now, if y'all want to get behind that, I got your back because I could defend that thing easily. But just because I come up with a side argument, that's not the argument of 43 million FBAs. So when Tariq Nasheed has a side argument, when he talks about his flag and the 3 stars, that's a side argument. That's something that he stands on, that he has to defend. Okay, but the definition of FBA, that's totally separate from our side. That's separate from unbiased Ron, who's black, who's not. That's separate from Tariq 3-star on the flag. That's separate. The definition is definitive. So what these guys do is, because they can't stand ground against our delineation and reparations, they try to go to the side arguments and use that as though that has some type of authority. It does not have authority. It could gain authority, but it's an assumption. It's a theory that we came up with, and we're trying to get people behind them. Like, so when I say we're the only black people, nobody else black, that's a theory of mine that I'm trying to get you guys behind. That's why I like to debate it with Tethers and Pan-Africans to show you guys that they can't even debunk it. It's irrefutable. And then at some point, it becomes maybe official. It becomes part of what we stand up. But right now, that's a side argument that unbiased Ron got to defend. Donnie is not required to defend that. TJ is required to defend that. So somebody can't come at you guys about what I stand on. Just like Donnie might believe we're aliens. Well, Donnie got to defend that. Okay, hypothetically. You can't come to me for Donnie's hypothesis or his thought, his speculation. No, go to Donnie with that. So when Tariq Nasheed argues the 3 stars, that's his personal argument. But you can't hold 43 million FBAs to a personal position. FBA ain't personal. That's definitive. But outside of the definition of FBA, all that stuff is personal and is subject to change. You dig? But these guys, what they do is they attack the personal ideas and theology and philosophy of us and try to make that law of all FBAs. And I'm here to say, not on my clock.
But then you go into something else. You know what I mean? So today, we are going to speak to the topic of pseudoscientific ethnogenesis story.
Right. But the problem with that, Dr. Ruxpin, is that you're misrepresenting FBA as a biological claim. FBA ethnogenesis is socio-political, and you claim to be a socio-political scientist. Well, FBA ethnogenesis is socio-political, not genetic. Dr. Ruxpin, one more time for you. FBA ethnogenesis is socio-political, not genetic. So no one in FBA is claiming a new species or biological mutation, my guy. You made that up. So socio-political ethnonyms are not biology. For example, Mexican American, Irish American, Cuban American, none of them rely on DNA tests, my guy, my boy. So why does FBA suddenly require a genetic mutation to be valid? Stop, bro. You're embarrassing yourself, man. They're gonna snatch that doctor's degree in a second. Okay, you're not representing the college you went to for that degree. I'm telling you, man, because you're getting cooked by somebody who don't have a doctor's.
There's another guy that we both agree lie all the time.
Now, listen. Now, these guys are supposed to be scientific literate. They're supposed to be the standard of how to have integrity, how to do proper research, how to do proper analysis. Now, listen to this garbage right here. All they do is call names, throw ad hominems. Listen, he's gonna talk about me right now. This is just throwing rocks at me. No proof. He doesn't go in to explain why he's saying this about me. He just says it and they leave it like that. And these are guys who's supposed to uphold the standard of integrity and research. Listen to this foolishness.
There's another guy that we both agree lie all the time. Lie all the time. Ron Pseudo. Lies all the time about everything else. They can't have a coherent conversation about.
Now the dude said, I lie all the time. Now you would expect him to either play a clip of me lying or actually quote me lying. He's just saying it. That's actually defamation, mischaracterization. You dig? Backbiting, whatever term you want to use. Like this is bad faith. He's saying something and he refused to prove it.
About anything. And that conversation we had with those two brothers, and Ron Pseudo picked it up and he run it on his channel. He got about 1,000 videos with it. I appreciate the free commercials.
First of all, we don't have 1,000 views, my guy. What I do is I do a reaction to your videos, right? Because I want to make sure that nobody takes your videos seriously, my guy. There's a method behind my madness. Okay, so whatever video you do, we come right behind you and debunk it. So nobody takes your videos seriously. This is called an expose, my guy.
I appreciate you, brother.
Me too.
Now, I mean, I really do. The marketing strategy is spectacular.
I mean, my wife said, you know, he called me the whole Teddy Rubskin. My wife said at least he picked something cute. So at least he cuddly and cute. Ron, thank you for picking something cute, brother. I mean, this is the first time I ever said his name because he comes under my comments and he wants me to debate him, and he says, come on over. You know, he's yeah.
So
come on over. You have a lot to say, but you will not defend what you say. Okay, we call that cowardice.
Hey, look, man, like I said, those guys wasn't ready. Since seeing them, they wasn't ready for the conversation, man. They had no accuracy. They just was going off their emotions. Emotional, right? And you know, I love being an African American.
Now, by the way, family, when I quote these guys, I play a video clip of them, like I'm doing right now. I play a video clip of them making a fool of themselves.
American.
Okay, and then I come behind it and expose it. These guys just talk about no proof, no quotes, no quotations, no video clips. They just talk trash about me, bro. Where is the evidence? What happened to source up or shut up? That's their mantra. Source up or shut up, and he's not doing that. So shut up.
But you never come to a gunfight, an intellectual gunfight, with BBs and no books.
Now keep in mind, these guys are supposed to be the standard of research, and the standard of integrity. Because what he's about to say next, I'm going to try to hold them accountable. These guys are supposed to be the standard of research and the standard of integrity.
What?
BBs and no books.
BBs and no books?
BBs, like a BB, you know, like a BB gun.
Oh, like a BB gun.
BBs. Yeah, they came in with BBs. Little,
they were shooting pellets.
Bing, not even a pellet. The BB, bing, bing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, the little silver things.
Yeah, they playing. With the air, you had to pump it with the air gun. Yeah, we was armed and dangerous with intellectual sources. And so that conversation never was going to go their way, bro. And the whole FBA movement is a pseudoscientific movement based off of the pseudoscientific pseudometry. Okay, hitting colors. Ain't no damn colors hitting. That we all understand who we are and where to get our story from, and we don't need a pseudometry, right, to tell our story.
Yeah.
We just don't. We need accurate, documented information of who we are, so we can get it together. Let me say this. Like to say this. Somebody reminded me of this. Okay. Let me read this real quick. And why I fight so hard.
Now, before he fights so hard, let me remind you what they supposedly be standing on. They supposedly supposed to be standing on this right here.
The Mossy Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias.
No bias.
With rigor and with
rigor and what else?
Scholarship.
And scholarship. They claim, right? Okay. So far they're throwing shots at me. I don't see the rigor. I don't see the scholarship. I see bias. I don't see unbiased.
We created the Mossy Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team.
So they are supposedly an expert research team. Let me run that back.
For a young cub, myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossy Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being
expert research team. That's unking them. All right, so let's hear this expert research information.
Never be afraid of understanding who you really are.
Hold on.
Baltimore, and just big up to the work that people and intelligent people in Baltimore put in. So for me, the conversation was easy. You know, me and you sat there and we watched and we say, man, these guys aren't even prepared for the conversation. They just was shooting from the hip. There's another guy that we both agree lie all the time. Lie.
Okay, so let's go further in this expose of foolery.
Who and what they are. And when you run from who and what you are, man, you did and know that you gotta have the truth, bro. Put myths around it. Make sure the story itself is grounded in reality. And so when you talk about African Americans, you talking about an ethnogenesis that I refuse to let anybody change. And that ethnogenesis is clear. Enslaved Africans, and was brought from the continent of Africa, different groups, different nations, okay, was brought from Africa to the Americas and mixed with Europeans and small amounts of Native Americans. And that's it.
Cameron, he's about to embarrass himself. Watch this. Keep in mind, they're supposed to be scientific literate people who stand on integrity and expert research. Keep that in mind.
That ain't no stage joke. That's it, and that's what it is. Anybody trying to attempt to go past that is trying to use pseudoscience to confuse your mind, and they're basically scamming the intellectual real estate between your brains. Simple as that, bro. It's well documented through the historical accuracy, right? Based off what the ethnogenesis is, and it's based in the DNA. And so we don't just use DNA, we back up DNA with the history, we back up history with the DNA. Ain't no getting around that, bro. It's too many statements I can make that will show you how wild it is to say Black indigenous people or Africans before, quote unquote, Sapien came here. It viruses tell the story of when humans arrived in America. I can look at the viruses, right, and know when Homo sapien came here. Imagine that.
So he can look at viruses. He claims this is a scientific literate guy who can look at viruses. Okay, go ahead.
Right? So we know viruses move with human populations. And we know when they got here because we can map out the gene pool in the viruses and map it all the way back to Africa. We can map out the gene pool in the humans and take them all the way back to Africa. Molecular clock.
So family, he's making a fool of himself.
And look at that, right? We can tell the time. We can also look at the people that came to the Americas and got people sick. It's called the Columbian Exchange, where the old world population ran into the new world population for the first time in recorded history. And those immune systems was not ready. Those Native Americans was not ready for old world diseases like smallpox. So if it was Africans in America, like Ivan Van Sertima said, then they wouldn't have got sick because their immune system would have been forged already.
Keep in mind, he's scientific literate.
Through the evolutionary process, would have had the codes already for the diseases. That's what the immune system does. It gets sick, develops the code, and develops immunity.
Right. So here's the problem. Okay, so he used diseases as exposure patterns to argue Africans couldn't have been an American. This is a fool. That is not what immune system modeling proves, my guy. Okay, it does not measure undocumented small groups before conquest era mass contact. Okay, immune reactions to 1492 contact. That does not disprove the existence of small pre-Columbian African visitors, right? What it disproves is mass settlement, not small pre-Columbian African visitors. It disproves mass settlement, which we never claimed. But nice try trying to pretend immunology equals anthropology. You just embarrassed yourself. It disproves large, not small. Okay, so you got to stop. You're embarrassing yourself, man. You're making it too easy to debunk you. This is all too easy. He's just running his mouth. And I like it because I'm able to just make a fool of him every time. Watch this claim right here. Like they give me so much material. Like, yeah, I ain't got to do my own content. I just keep debunking you. You dig?
Newer term nonetheless. And from what I read, I think in like the 1970s or something like that, and it made a rebound like in the 1990s. But
so he's talking about African American. Like African American in the 1700s was rarely ever used, was rarely ever acknowledged by Black people across the nation. Okay, these are small, tiny pockets of people circulating African American.
But the thing is, there can be argument. You can make whatever argument you want to about a ethnogenesis, but the argument that is being made is a hijack. And what do I mean by that?
What do you mean?
What I mean by that it builds on what you said earlier.
Hey, family, is my microphone clear and loud, or do I sound muffled? Because I bought a new headset with a microphone that supposedly has noise cancellation. So any background noise, music, whatever, you're not supposed to hear. You dig? So, but right now, if my microphone sound clear, kind of like my old sound, almost near my old microphone, just press 1. If it's not clear, press 2.
I'm proud to be an African American.
Yeah,
there's nothing, huh?
Yeah, I'm Black and I'm proud. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Are you Black and proud or African American and proud, my guy? Like, yeah, you just said something stupid. Like he's arguing, Dr. Ruxpin is arguing for African American, and Aunt Ruckus said Black and proud.
And FBA is hijacking something that already exists.
Yeah.
With some pseudo points.
A lot of them.
So when we talk about ethnogenesis, you talk about it's inclusive of culture. There's nothing unique about what FBA is doing or trying to do. And in fact, I just want to say this just to diverge just a bit. I don't agree with any of the groups, ADOS or FBA, but why would you pick FBA? I mean, like, if I wanted to pick one, I mean, if you wanted to be a little bit more intellectual or a little bit more grounded in reality, although I don't agree with it, just why not do something seemingly more responsible with seemingly more organized and responsible people that do read research and skew the research, but nonetheless, they do it. But anyway, what you got, Brother Hunt?
So, I mentioned something earlier. I always want to back mine up. Support mine.
You don't though. You just say stuff, you don't back up nothing. Okay, so now family, listen. African American, okay, without any much like resistance. It's a broad political term. It's a census category. It includes recent African immigrants. It is not specific to descendants of U.S. slavery. So if African American already does what FBA does, then why do Eritreans, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Somalians, Jamaicans, and other tethers, why do they fall inside the category of African American? Do they share our lineage? Do they share our oppression history or claim rights with us? Absolutely no. So why are they categorized with us under African American? Again, African American is a broad political term that has a dual usage. That is undeniable. Okay, so let's get ready for the gaslighting. You're ready for the gaslighting? Where like they just really just go somewhere else. Watch this. They're gonna compare us to a religion.
So let me guess.
Yeah, so that's a guess. I get it.
You can guess it too.
You go into their threads and you kind of
like, how arrogant is that? It's 40 million Black Hebrew Israelites. You all Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, that's the foolery. And it's the same thing. So the FBA ain't no different than the Black Hebrew Israelites, which ain't no different than the rest of them.
Okay, so family, that is literally called gaslighting. Saying a lineage is no different than a religion, a theology. Okay, so FBA, we are not a religion. We don't claim supernatural origins. We don't claim God is working with us. We don't claim God is killing our enemies and splitting Red Seas for us. We don't say that. FBA family, as you already know, it's a lineage designation similar to Freedmen, Gullah Geechee, Black Seminole. So comparing our legal lineage claim to a religious ideology is literally a bad faith comparison, is a false equivalence. But this is a scientific literate guy who's supposed to be standing on integrity. Okay, so claiming a lineage is not religion. If that's the standard, then Native American tribes must also be cults, right? Or is it only cultists when we, FBA, organize with complete precision? Okay, so now now listen to their argument where they argue against delineation.
They won't tell you how things can grow over time and things can crystallize over time. Right. So at this point, as our crystallization of African Americans, it is very clear, right? It's very clear that we will use the ethnogenesis, which means enslaved Africans, different groups come together with colonial powers mixed with them and Native Americans, and the DNA is clear. So later on, I'll show you the DNA studies that show this. So yeah, don't play with Jesse Jackson. We know what Jesse Jackson did. We can look at.
Now, actually, you don't know, okay? And nobody trusts you, my guy. Listen to this right here.
That's just not true, right? It just has to be defined about, well, if you're African American, you're not gonna be able to get your money because anybody can fit that. That's just not true, right? It just has to be defined properly. It's no confusion in who African Americans are now.
Okay, so he keeps saying there's no confusion who African Americans are when everybody of African descent in this country clicks a box that represents them as African American. That is 100% confusion, my guy. It serves a dual purpose. African American, it represents people of the lineage to U.S. chattel slavery, and it also represents recent immigrating immigrants. That is literally called confusion. Okay. So they ignore the fact that African American has never been legally lineage specific. Okay, so every attempt at Black reparations failed because the category was not lineage specific. Black and African American were seen as racial based categories. You cannot ask for reparations with a lineage based argument. I'm sorry, you cannot ask for reparations with a race based argument. Only a lineage based. African American serves as a lineage and a racial based category. All right. So now, here's the thing for if African American were enough, why are Somalis, Nigerians, Jamaicans, and Ethiopians included in the same box? How do you prove harms specific to U.S. chattel slavery under that umbrella? They're clicking the same box. So if they're clicking the same box and resources and allocations of money goes to those people under that box, why won't they click that box again? For those resources for those people. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, so oh my God. I mean, but him and Dr. Ruxpin, they came together to do this. This is embarrassing.
If you said it's a theory, and it's plausible, we just don't have the enough data to support it, then I'll say, okay, that's a theory. That's a conceptualization. But no, you are saying it happened.
So family, what they do is, again, this whole 2-hour video is called debunking ethnogenesis. And you know they can't do that. They're not that dumb to try that. So the whole video was about attacking Tariq Nasheed's personal views of his 3 stars. The 3 stars are not part of the definition of FBA. The definition of FBA, it stands alone by itself. The problem is that these guys don't know what a definition is. That's the problem. They don't know definitions are definitive. Once you have a definition of a word and there's a period, that's it. You cannot add to it. So when Tariq Nasheed added the definition of FBA to his website, he added a period. And then somewhere else on his website, he talked about the 3 stars. That is not part of a definition. That is called an explanation. Explanations are different from definitions, okay? But either they're that dumb to not know that, or they're purposely scamming you guys. They're scamming their own. Okay, hold on. Let me do this for you. Okay, so definition means stating the exact meaning or essence of something. What is? That's it. So he explained on his website what is FBA, and he clearly articulated people who underwent U.S. chattel slavery. Then he went on to explain the 3 stars. That's called an explanation. It says explanation means proving details, reasons, or context to make it clear and understandable how or why a work happens. A definition is concise and a factual. This is what a definition is. A definition is a factual statement. An explanation elaborates on that definition with more depth, showing cause and effect or function. Okay, but this is not a factual statement. This is explaining the definition, but the definition is separate from the explanation. Now, you got to be a total retard to not understand an explanation is not a fact. The definition is, again, this is too easy for me. I was so glad when they made this damn video. I looked it over. I watched it this morning on my way to work. I was like, oh my God. These guys are just giving me content to make them look even more dumb. All right, so let's go here now. I hope I have enough time to get to Frankenstein over there. Asar Hotep. He tried to say we don't have culture.
What's the motivation behind trying to convince a group of people that they need something that only you can provide for them?
Not that part. The part when you said convincing, I guess, the system, the white man, or whatever you want to call it, convincing them.
Convincing them that the white people don't know who they stole or what they stole.
Yeah.
What's the motivation behind convincing us that white people don't know who the hell we are?
Yeah. And the fact, like the reality that we'll call it, convincing them. Convincing them that the white people don't know. It goes back to something I've said for many years, and you've said, and I've heard you say it as well. You know, even in like the communities that I roll in, I always challenge my African-centered brothers and sisters like that. Will that stand up on the stage of academic debate? Like for me, you ain't gonna have me saying something that I know can't hold up on the stage. Now, we can parse it out. Now, some things are just cultural, but we have to realize there's limitations to everything. So some things serve a purpose, but it doesn't mean they're real. So let's be able to distinguish between what is real and what is not. But this is a political organization that wants to be taken serious, but are making fallacious claims that will be that is laughable in the real world, which will be laughable if you were to go to court. It's almost akin.
Now here we go. These guys are now court experts. Listen to their court expertise. Hilarious.
When you hear the Morris the Morris what do they call them? Those who say they don't.
So they're gonna ignore tone, right? Tone talk. They're gonna ignore he's a lawyer. They're gonna ignore the fact we had Dr. Sandy Darity and also smaller organizations within the reparations movement. That's not even tied to FBA. Maybe tied to Adolf or U.S. Descendants of Freedmen, who are lawyers and are in courts right now. They're going to disrespect all of that. Everybody's just dumb. We're waiting for a high school dropout, Ruckus, and ex drug addict, and Ruxpin, Dr. Ruxpin, who's a social political science, not a scientist, not a lawyer in no capacity. But we're going to listen to these fools. Now, they're not citing their source. They're now also law experts. So they're a research team of experts, and now they're law experts.
License and stuff.
Sovereign
citizen movement. Yeah. It's almost like you're going to go in front of these people, you know, in these hearings and say, we the black aboriginal people in North America.
Now, family, that's a straw man. Nobody ever said we're going to do that in court. This is a straw man they're using. And then they argue against the straw man. This is deceptive. This is bad faith. This is no integrity for a guy who's supposed to have a PhD. This is embarrassing. That school should take that degree from this guy. He's misrepresenting it.
Like, how much does that sound like the sovereign citizen movement?
Nothing.
Now think about it. I think you said some profound things, huh?
Well, the sovereign citizen movement says the USA has no jurisdiction. They claim to have diplomatic immunity. That's not what we're saying. We're using the courts and we're playing the roles of court. Okay, so I mean that's a false equivalence. Again, bad faith argument, bad faith comparison. So they ignore precedent. Okay, so Native American tribal distinction, they ignore that. They ignore Japanese American World War II redress. They ignore Rosewood reparations. They ignore Holocaust reparations. All of them required lineage-based claimant classes. Exactly what we are doing as FBA Adolf, Descendants of Freedmen. Okay, so the courts already accept lineage-based harms all the time, Ruxpin and Ruckus. The only people terrified of delineation are you Pan-African booty scratchers because it eliminates your ability to hijack our political category and you can't sell your RBG sneakers. You can't sell us tickets to your conferences that I'm going to expose later. Okay, these Pan-African conferences and all of these repatriation tours to Ghana and Kenya that Baba Smalls conduct, this affects all of that. Well, this delineation movement affects all of your money with this RBG back to Africa bullshit. It debunks it. We're actually taking from your pockets. So you have motive to speak the way you're speaking. Okay. Now they're gonna now trope us. They're gonna act like we're anti-immigrants now, like we're just xenophobic. So now listen to this straw man. These guys are disgusting, yo.
I never get mad at that. That's part of the deal. That's part of the deal. But for us to not recognize that, for continental Africans to make light of that and act like we don't got no culture, that's a riff, right? So that's why when we having conversations with each other, right? I'm never calling you a tether, right? Not unless you got to earn it. See, if you earn it, then I might call you a lot of things, right? But I'm never taking a person because they're a continental African and immediately arguing with them because I know, you know, that eyeball test, show is undefeated pseudoisms, right? You can look at the person and think you know who you're looking at, you really can't. You can't. So when Europeans, when we're in America, bro, we all look alike. You just got to have this skin color, bro. You all gonna get treated the same, right?
No, you're not.
That's another whole fight.
That's a big lie that they
right? So if we split and fight each other, watch this, Asar. If we fighting each other back and forth, well, you not this, and my culture better than that, man, the powers to be, yo, they don't care about
powers
that,
to
bro.
be.
So I don't understand the disrespect on people.
Who the hell are the powers to be, family? These guys are supposed to be anti-pseudo, and he's using language like the powers to be. He said that with no explanation, no definition. He left that to each and everyone's own imagination. So some people might take that to be aliens. Some people might take that to be tethers. Some people might take that to be white supremacists. Some people might take that to be FBAs. He just said a new word and did not define it, did not explain it. He just left it there for our own personal interpretation. But this guy is scientific literate. He's standing on integrity. This is a fool.
Or immigrants, I understand it. And I don't understand the disrespect for the immigrants. I don't understand that. At the end of the day, yo, we have a lot of common with.
Okay, so he said disrespect of immigrants. Again, no case in point. He just, Ron is pseudo, no case in point. Disrespect for immigrants, no case in point. Hey, man, delineation does not equal hatred towards Africans or immigrants. Okay, it is structuring eligibility claims for specific harms. We got to keep repeating that over and over and over. We have no issue with legal immigrants. Okay, we have an issue with immigrants being mislabeled as foundational Black Americans in data sets, politics, employment stats, and reparations framework, my guy. That's not hate. It's called accuracy. It's called explicit representation, disaggregation, delineation. Okay? So now let's see some more foolishness. Again, this is too easy, man.
Productions was great, and it is what it is. So none of these things stop you from being an African American, right? None of these things make you have to make up a whole new name, right? You know,
yes, it does. African American is co-op and it's broad, and so many people who are non-lineage can use that term or check a box for that term. That is enough reason to say we're good. We need a new name, and it's Foundation Black American. You could say ADOS.
This the ADOS thing. All that is mind-boggling to me, bro. Like,
right, because you're a fool. You might not have enough brain cells to comprehend it. You said you were an ex-addict. I don't know how that works. I don't know. I didn't do the study on addicts, how they comprehend and how they be coherent after they become clean. I don't know how that works. I got to research that. But all I know 'Cause I never did a drug. I never did outside of alcohol. I never did a drug in my life. So I don't no marijuana, none of that stuff. So my faculties are good. Okay. And I don't have a comprehension problem. You do. We talk to the phone, we talk to the live, and you're confused. You thought we read the same article, and you thought the article concluded that Africans had little to no involvement in slave raid and selling us to white people. You made the argument. Okay, so we can't trust you, my guy. You make too many mistakes with your comprehension.
At least ADOS come at it from a little more intelligent strategy.
Okay, so that's his way to gaslight and try to divide and conquer. All of them make the argument that ADOS is more competent, ADOS is more coherent, and they want us to like focus on, oh, ADOS, no, they democratic shields, like they want us to do that. No, we're locked in on you guys. You're the problem. I don't have no issue with ADOS. I got no issue with ABOs. I got an issue with you, Pan-African booty scratchers. And you're not gonna misdirect me to look at somebody within the lineage. I'm looking at you clowns. Okay? You guys are why we are cooking. Okay. So he said he's gonna say something ridiculous. Hold on. Let me get to it. He said something really retarded and ridiculous about Pan-Africanism. I want you to get right to it. But this is what happens when you just babble with a bunch of yes men. And these guys are supposed to be a research team of experts. Right? Okay, so let me see. Yeah. All right. Let me see. Huh. Africanism. Here we go.
Like Dr. Assar Winkler and Beemore in the Caribbean amongst Rastafarians in the Sahel Alliance. Oh, he's talking about I guess he's responding to this idea that Pan-Africanism is not practiced anywhere, and which is a lie, right? It's only practiced here in America, and so I think he's responding to that. And then you know what I thought about as I was looking at Brother Unc, as I'm looking at the definition definitions for ethnogenesis.
All we know is that Pan-Africanism failed politically on the continent. If it failed politically on the continent, how can it work outside the continent? Okay, so these clowns, they romanticize Pan-Africanism to hide hundreds of years of documented collapse. We're talking about 1800s to 1960s Pan-African liberation movement that I always talk about, where these guys just said, screw you. We talk about the West Indies Federation family. We talk about failed federations. We talk about coups, tribal conflicts, border wars. We talk about the Hutus and the Tutsis. We're talking about Rwanda, that type of stuff. These guys have failed. Pan-Africanism couldn't even unite Ghana and Guinea for 5 years, but somehow it's going to unite 1 point something billion people plus the diaspora. Like, this is goofy, magical talk. The only place Pan-Africanism is alive is on YouTube panels, not in policy. And even on YouTube, these guys don't support each other. All of them want to be the Pan-African guru. When they go to a Pan-African conference, all they do is brag about what they're doing and why everybody should listen to that person. There's no unity. When they go on YouTube, there's nothing. They don't support each other. When they have conferences, there's no support. They just brag about what they have done individually or their little small cult group. But they hate each other. They debunk each other. I remember on Sunday TV, you had the Amarat Squad, a bunch of Pan-Africans who were attacking Sarasu and Seti and Young Pharaoh, some other Pan-Africans. That's all they do, family. Because at that moment, everybody was listening to Young Pharaoh Pan-African and Sarasota City Pan-African. And the Amara squad wanted their lights. So they felt like if we took them in a debate, we'll take their light, and now everybody listen to them and watch them. So these guys, like Chief X said, been around for 1,000 years, and they have failed to attract the people, man. Dude, you can't attract the people hating. That's not gonna work. All right. So anyway, so Frankenstein, right there, Asar Hutep, he tried to make the argument that that FBA, we have no culture. So he made this argument like 3-4 years ago before Frank Zanou. So the argument was so piss poor, horrible, that even Dr. Ruxpin challenged him on the fly. Listen to this.
But I mean, according to the way you're like framing this, who on earth has culture?
There's a lot of folks who have culture. And then
So Dr. Ruxpin was telling Asar Hotep, Frankenstein, the way you're defining culture, the way you're eliminating everybody, including FBAs, he's like, well, according to your definition, well, damn, who got culture outside of the people who you want to have culture? Kind of like what Frank Zanou did. Like he came up with his own definition of culture, and that definition conveniently excluded we, FBA.
But I mean, according to the way you're like framing this, who on earth has culture?
there's a lot of folks who have culture. And then there's a lot of folks who have
name some.
I named
like
some at the beginning. So for example, like I said,
hold on, let me shout out super chats. Minutes love. We got Buckhorse in the chat. He said, "You damn fools, the grip is up. You don't believe ass Donald Trump." Yeah, like these guys are failed. Whatever they're doing in society, their philanthropy work is failed. Their activism work has failed. So now they decide to hop in our spaces. Now they're getting the most views they ever did. And that's why I say, do not go to their channels, yo. Let them die out. Okay. Let they believe in all this scientific shit. So let natural selection naturally just take them out. Nature ain't gonna select them to survive on YouTube. So don't visit their videos. Let them shit. Because listen, Pan-Africans don't support Pan-Africans. So the only views they're gonna get will be from us. Let their channels rot dry.
said the Yoruba people.
I'm talking about outside of Africa.
I said China.
So this Frankenstein guy, Asar, he said the only people that have culture is Africans, and outside of Africa, just China. So now Dr. Ruxpin's be like, what? He's going to cook them and make them look stupid with the stupid assumption.
The Chinese.
So what makes them like they won't fit in all these categories even. They've been as Europeanized, westernized, and they got all this mixed up stuff going on too.
Notice that I said that in our conversation that culture, there's no such thing as a pure culture.
Okay.
Everyone interacts and borrows.
Okay.
But it gets to a point. What'd you say?
But look, so the reason why I'm struggling with this a bit is that this is the very reason why a lot of people from
So you see, so he's saying, yo, you're gonna have problems with FBAs with this dumbass conclusion about FBAs don't got culture.
Of people, it's an amalgam of people who came together and decided to become a people due to various circumstances.
Do you have
and over time, I'm sorry?
Do you have a scale? Because to me, like I hear a lot of words, but I'm wondering what scale do you have that can we can look at? And
Dr. Ruxpin is like, yo, you just making that shit up out your ass, bro. Like, where's the scale to determine culture and the levels of culture where you can conclude that FBAs are on the bottom, like light colored, and Africans and Chinese people are on the high, dark color red? Like, what's you just making this stuff up, bro? And this is what happens when goofy, unintelligible, no swag, people who wear a sweatsuit and tuck their pants into their sweatshirt with this guy wears a sweatsuit with rain boots. Like he's with a bucket hat. Like this is a weird dude, man. I met him in person. Dude, weird as hell.
Appreciate what you're doing. I just don't know. It's kind of deep for the FBAers, and I'll be honest with you, because they're going to take this as evidence
that you're stupid.
That's an unfair comparison, though. Because
I know it's an unfair comparison because you are the descendants of enslaved Africans who are developing themselves.
I'm talking about nationally is unfair because you have various groups, just like the Yoruba people of Nigeria or wherever else, that have these ideas, and they still have different ideas. So what I'm saying is there's
but they all agree. The Yoruba people all agree on the Yoruba language. They all agree on Abatala. Oh yeah. They all agree on Ifa. They all agree on Oshun. They all agree on Ogun.
People of that region. That's what I'm saying.
That's an example. I can name many of them.
I'm about to give you an example that the people who are part of the Nation of Islam here in the hells of North America have.
Yes, and they are Muslim. African Islam is not African American.
The UNIA has an ideal person.
Right, so Frankenstein's being cooked by Dr. Ruxpin. Because Dr. Ruxpin wrote a 900-page bullshit book that nobody supports, nobody buys. And part of that book, he decided to have a chapter called culture. And he positioned himself to say Black Americans have no culture. Just filthy, disgusting African booty scratchers. They got culture. Okay, and Tetris got culture. But foundational Black Americans got no culture. Hey, family, all they do is attack us. You guys are swinging up. And they're mad that we're not paying them any attention. You dig? We're just living our best life. They're swinging up at us, trying to take us down. We ain't got culture. We're criminals. We're this, we're that. These filthy animals are so far below us. But they're swinging up, trying to drag us down, and we ain't paying them no mind. We don't feel none of these blows. Pause.
That has an ideal person that they feel that they should strive to be like. I'm saying that you can't.
What aren't you getting when I say that we have elements and fragments?
Well, I'm just saying that.
Listen. With no expectation there's no cultural expectation that everybody go through the UNIA or the Nation of Islam.
National expectation, everybody's not Yoruba.
I didn't say that everybody is Yoruba. I'm saying
I'm trying to juxtapose them evenly, equally. It's not comparing apples to apples.
Humble that Frankenstein fake pseudo scholar, that clown. He's stupid, man. Hatred for FBA.
Well,
that's why I didn't say Nigerian culture. I didn't say a Ghanaian culture. I gave an ethnic group.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. The ethnic group is within a larger construct, whether you want to call it Nigeria or not.
Like we're part of a larger construct, ethnic group. Like, yo, he's putting this stupid Frankenstein, big black head, tucking his sweatshirt into his sweatpants with rain boots and a bucket hat. Clown.
You have to organize. That's why I said culture is conscious.
I think in order for this to be clear, you have to develop a scale. Because other than that, is not okay. I get it intellectually. I even agree with you intellectually.
So what you're trying to do is like make him feel better about his critique. Stop it, bro.
But I feel like in order for you to really flesh this out and make it clear and responsible, you need to develop a scale.
That's
a
not a
scientific
problem.
Instrument.
Not a problem. Well, why you didn't do it in the first place? You stupid, trash, fake pseudo scholar, Bigfoot, Frankenstein, goofy clown. We don't respect nothing about you, my guy. You're a clown. Now let's go into his book. He got a 900-page book, kind of argue that we don't have culture, right? And that's what Dr. Ruxpin was debunking. So your position on FBAs not having culture is stupid. Oh, I'll develop a measuring stick. It's too late, my guy. You wrote your book. Your book is self-published, my guy. It's out there. It's over. Shit. Hold on.
So when it comes
Okay,
to
pause.
the
Okay, all right. You got it. So I'm gonna entertain clips of his book, and then we out of here. And then the next video.
the first name that we use for ourselves collectively was simply African. And so we are the true Africans. Can't nobody on the continent of Africa say we are not African. We are the first and only ones who have labeled ourselves, African. Dance, and then we later added the American to denote citizenship. So the Africans in America.
But that contradicts. This guy said they later added American to denote citizenship. But that debunks your 1790, 1800 claim of the AME Church. So why did they say American? There was no citizenship when Richard Allen came up with, or was it Alexander Crumer? I think it was Richard Allen. When he came up with the AME Church, why did he say African American? You were not a citizenship. You didn't have no citizenship. You're not an American citizen at that time. Again, these guys be playing, man. So if African American and the American represent citizenship, then why was the AME Church called AME? There was no American citizenship at that time, and he still called it the African American. Well, yeah, he'll argue American wasn't used, African methodology, statistical. All right, okay. So maybe that church get a pass, but 1790 and in between that, they were calling themselves African American, by the way, before 1868 for sure. So the church was a bad analogy, but when they were calling themselves, a few handful of people calling themselves African American, were they using American for citizenship as well? We didn't have citizenship at that time. So like these guys just lie, no integrity at all.
Right. So
no, not right.
Articulated by Dr. Malana Karanga, who's also going to be presenting at the One Africa conference that we mentioned earlier. So make sure that y'all go to hobbyfilm.com.
Well, make sure y'all go cop your tickets. Family, he just said this guy is going to be at a Pan-African conference. Make sure you cop your tickets at so-and-so.com. Family, this is their lifestyle. They're not standing on this because they believe we're actually wrong. Family, this is their livelihood, selling Pan-African lies to FBAs and tethers. Okay, listen to this guy.
Africa conference that we mentioned earlier. The One Africa conference that we mentioned earlier. So make sure that y'all go to hobbyfilm.com and purchase your ticket.
Purchase your ticket, family. That's all this is for these guys. Unc said he sells shoes when I played the video of me him dialoguing earlier. They make a living off of selling Pan-African bullshit. Okay? They make a living.
About the consanguinity.
Now look, this video right here, I'm going to tell you how weird this Frankenstein guy is. He's going to propose he's going to rename Africa. So it's like, wait a minute. So we renamed ourselves a more specific, exclusive ethnonym that people can't hijack and tether on to. And you're mad at that. It excludes recent immigrants. You're mad at that. But you're going to rename Africa, family. You can't not make this up. This guy is going to rename Africa, but we can't rename ourselves a name that's exclusive. It blocks out people tethering and hijacking us. He's mad at that, but he's going to propose a rename of Africa. Listen.
Of African American identity. So we have Africans as a whole. I've since suggested a new name for Africa called Bukanda.
He said, I since suggested a new name for Africa called Bukanda. He's dead ass. Bukanda.
Africans as a whole, I've since suggested a new name for Africa called Bukanda. And because the word Kanda is one of the most dominant words for land, community, and family.
Family, he must have just heard us song My Boo. This dude said Bukanda. He's gonna rename Africa Bukanda, but he's mad at us renaming ourselves a more specific term that's anti-hijackable by recent immigrants. Hilarious. Now look, he's gonna read the definition of African American culture, which is Black American culture, on Wikipedia, and then disagree with it because it gives us a culture. So it debunks his position that we don't have culture.
This is just from the Wikipedia page. So, pretty kind of standard stuff. And so it goes, it makes the argument that African Americans, it says the distinct identity of African American culture is rooted in the historical experience of African American people, including the Middle Passage. So this argues that we do have a distinct culture. And when it goes to some explaining, I won't be reading much of any of this, but let's look at the elements that it's arguing is saying that, is our culture. And so it, it has a section in here on oral tradition, in terms of a few stories, the signifying monkey, African-American folk tales, Burr Rabbit, the Uncle Remus, Stagger Lee, et cetera, et cetera. So, I guess we got that.
He was watching Wakanda, and at some point he started to play Us in My Boo. And he was like, look at this, Bukanda. This dude said Bukanda. Okay, so he's using Wikipedia to define culture and then dismiss it as it's aesthetic. Okay, for one, that's a false dichotomy. Okay, aesthetic versus real culture. And then we'll check this out. In cultural theory, aesthetics are not fluff. So he dismissed aesthetic as though it's nothing. This fake scholar. Well, in cultural theory, aesthetics are not fluff. They are central carriers of values, memory, identity, and social rules. Okay, so reductionism. Okay, so Frankenstein frames African American culture, Black American culture as song, dance, fashion, and then he argues it's shallow after he reduces it. So he got the definition that we have culture, and then he reduces it to nothing, his personal projection, and then says it's not. All right. But Frankenstein, I got something for you. Music, language, foodways, ritual, and style are major cultural institutions in diasporic communities, especially under repression, where formal institutions were denied, my guy. Black American culture, or Foundation Black American culture production, is historically tied to collective survival and social organization. So spirituals, phrase traditions, let's say ring shot lineages, church polities, mutual aid societies, fraternal orders, burial societies, the dozens, playing the dozens, signifying as social regulation, etc. Okay, so they really all he's doing is making white supremacist arguments. All right, so we have culture. Wikipedia just debunked this fool, and he got mad at Wikipedia. Listen to this one. Now we don't have language.
Dance, but even the language, even though it has certain West African grammatical and phonetic aspects of it, for the most part, it's still English. So we don't have our own language.
We don't have our own language. It's still English, he claims. Like, this is a fake self-proclaimed scholar. This is Frankenstein.
In that sense.
So we don't have our own language. Like, he just be making shit up. Okay, so linguistic essentialism. Frankenstein, listen, my guy, I'm trying to save you the embarrassment. If it's English based, you say it's not ours, right? But that's not how linguistics defines ownership or distinctiveness. One more time. You said if it's English based, it's not ours. It's not FBAs. But again, that's not how linguistics define ownership or distinctiveness, my guy. So there's a structural misunderstanding on your behalf. Check this out. AAVE or FBA VE. It's not slang. It's like Creole slang. It's not slang. It's not random. It's not random deviation, my guy. It is a rule governed variety with stable grammar, aspect systems, and phonology. Okay, so watch this. A language variety can be distinct and culturally owned without being a separate language family. Hello? It don't have to be a whole new something. A language variety can be distinct and culturally owned without being a separate language family. Check this out. Language is a continuum. Dialects, varieties can be culturally definitive, e.g., Scots English, Haitian French varieties, etc. You're dumb. You're dumb. Throw that book in the garbage. You wrote 900 pages for no reason. Nobody's going to buy that book. It's hot garbage. Even Dr. Ruxpin said it's hot garbage. Okay, so AAVE, or you could say FBAVE, has systematic features, e.g., habitual, be, right? Expectual, done, stress, been, copula, absence, governed by constraints. So those are not making things up. They're grammatical systems. So this dog, Frankenstein, so we were making stuff up when we talk. So now he's going to attack Juneteenth. Like this is in promote Kwanzaa.
What we're going to come to find out is that that's not culture. And it says all the holidays and observances, for the most part, all the holidays and stuff that we observe are European holidays. It's very few. We have Juneteenth, but then, you know, that's still in relation to being freed from white people. So it's still tied to white folks.
So Juneteenth is still tied to white folks. Listen to this, but Kwanzaa isn't. Yeah, this is a Frankenstein buffoon who's been a failed YouTuber all of his existence online.
In terms of Juneteenth.
And who can listen to this guy more than 2 minutes without falling asleep? Dude got no swag, no charisma, no nothing. It's a boring Frankenstein dude.
And of course, the only, you know, holiday that we have that we created was Kwanzaa by Dr. Malana Karenga and the other.
So the only holiday that we had that we created is Kwanzaa. Okay, so that's a genetic fallacy. Okay, where a practice originated does not equate to what it means now in the community. So the origins doesn't equate to what it means now. We keep trying to explain that with FBA. Watch this. So he's misreading cultural memory. Juneteenth is not tied to white folks as dependency, Frankenstein. It's a freedom commemoration anchored in Black collective memory and institution building, the churches, parades, mutual aid, civic orgs, right? So ignoring Black civic ritual, right? Martin Luther King Day, Black History Month, homecoming traditions, watch night services, emancipation observances, etc., function as ritual calendars, even if not religious holidays, you goofball, you goofy. So many cultures adopt and adapt calendar forms while transforming meaning. That transformation is precisely what culture does, you fool. So Juneteenth is an example of cultural agency, a community turning historical rupture into ritual, pedagogy, and identity. So now he's going to disrespect fried chicken. Listen, I mean, he just said, yeah, this guy is, if you don't believe he's an agent, then nobody's an agent.
You know, you see African American culture, and the first thing it shows is fried chicken as part of African American cuisine, even though chicken comes from Asia.
Everything he's saying, family, is to disrespect our culture. It comes from Asia. That's a straw man. No serious scholar says chicken is African as a species origin or Asian. Okay, cuisine is about technique, seasoning profiles, social uses, and food ways, Frankenstein, not where the animal evolved. This is a fool. Throw that 900-page book in the garbage. Throw it in the next bonfire in New York. Okay, so culinary illiteracy is what we're dealing with. Culture of food is defined by preparation, ritual, and meaning. Okay, foundational Black American food ways combine a bunch of stuff: okras, rice cultures, greens, pepper profiles, frying techniques. So with new world constraints, that's the only difference. That's precisely how diasporic cuisines form, creolized continuity. This is the full hickle to more, some more heat.
My position is no, we do not have our own culture.
You hear that? We don't have our own culture. Yeah, I'm telling you, family, these Pan-African booty scratchers, they worship Africa. They will suck the ass out of a disgusting, dusty, musty African if they meet them. They're trying to satisfy. Oh my God. We don't have culture. So he was Frank Zanu before Frank Zanu.
Yet, that we are Americans with Africanisms, right? As a matter of fact, you can get a book called excerpt from Africanisms in America by
I'll always get a book from a Pan-African. Bro, we're not buying no bullshit, bro.
Joseph Holloway. It's an edited text. I forgot what year it came out.
We're good. We're good.
But what we're calling culture in many respects is just the maladaptations to living in an oppressed and apartheid society.
They got that much hatred in us, man. Maladaptation to apartheid. Okay, so that's clearly an overgeneralization. So some behaviors under oppression are maladaptive, but many are adaptive and resistant, Frankenstein. So totalizing claim, reducing the whole culture to pathology echoes a long tradition of cultural deficiency arguments just with Afrocentric vocabulary, bro. You're just like Dr. Ruspick said, you're just saying a lot of words. Like you're trying to be polite. Brother polite. Okay, so under domination, you typically see a mix of adaptive survival strategies, resistant forms, and harmful internalizations. Okay, so Foundation Black American culture includes robust pro-social and institution building traditions, churches, mutual aid, HBCUs, Black press, fraternals, labor organizing, benevolent societies, civic clubs. Those are not maladaptations, Frankenstein. Here goes some more heat.
This little excerpt from the late Dr. Asa Hilliard III in an article that he wrote called Race, Identity, Hegemony, and Education. And so when in this aspect of the
He just rambling.
So when we came to this country, what did we originally call ourselves? And I've argued that there is only one true African people, and that
oh my God. Listen to this stupidness.
Is who we call African Americans today. And the reason why is because Africans on the continent only recently in history referred to themselves as Africans, but only in the sense of in a geographical space.
Right. So how are we Africans? If it's about a geographical space, which is on the continent of Africa, and that's the reason why they call themselves Africans, then why are we calling ourselves Africans? You're a fool, Frankenstein.
But it is the African Americans who in the beginning called themselves Africans as an ethnic marker.
Okay, family, he's lying. He's lying. I mean, he's just lying. I mean, I got a link right there. I mean, the dude's just lying. At this point, he's just flat out just lying. I would love for him to click that link and prove that. Because he's saying absolutely, we called ourselves Africans. I need to know where the hell you got that from. That is 1990 Jesse Jackson, my guy. That's recent my boy. That's recent. I was alive when that happened. I was in fucking middle school or some shit when that was going on. You're lying. That's not in the beginning.
And we even labeled or named many of our self-help societies.
So he's gonna name about 6. Okay, from the 1800s to 1990, he's gonna name 6. We're talking about 100-some years. He's gonna name 6, and everything was named nothing to do with Africa. I mean, like these guys are just horrible, horrible.
So,
Frankenstein, you're disgusting, my guy. So again, that's historical overreach. So diasporic self-naming. He said African. He said that was important. Okay, cool. But claiming that FBAs are the only true African, that collapses geography. You know why? Because ethnicity and diaspora into a rhetorical point. Continental identities often operated through ethnonyms, you fool. You know what an ethnonym is? I go over that a lot over here. So examples of ethonyms, Yoruba, Akan, Wolof, etc. Rather than the continental label. Nobody calls themselves after a continent as their ethnonym, you big head Frankenstein, boring man. Nobody uses a continent as their ethnonym. They use their country as their nationality and maybe as an ethnonym, but your continent is never, like, nobody's just South American. Nobody's just North American. People come from a country or they're after a tribe or something like that, some language. You're not a continent. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I mean that's just dumb. That's just dumb. Let me skip past that.
7 core areas of culture as articulated by Dr. Malana Karenga, who's also going to be presenting at the One Africa conference that we mentioned earlier. So make sure that y'all go to hobbyfilm.com and purchase your ticket.
You got to purchase your tickets. He's selling Pan-Africanism, and you got to go purchase your tickets.
But anyway, so there's in Africology, in Africana studies, this is the first thing that we learn is these 7 core areas. So when you say that we have a culture, right, you have to consider these areas. So what is the history? So every group has a history. You can never not have a history. The only way you not have a history is if you don't exist. But since we exist, everyone has a history. But you have to systematize and have people to write down and teach that history, right? Then you have mythology. And usually I combine that with cosmology.
I'm about to fall asleep. Listen to this damn guy. Come on, hurry up, man. Speak a little faster.
So I put cosmology.
Upgrade some swag.
And then you have motifs. Motifs are the signs and aesthetics that remind the people of the culture how to behave, and it'll.
Okay, all right. God damn, man, this dude won't shut up and just get to the point. Okay, so family, that's a misapplication. That's a misapplication of Karenga's framework. All right, he's just lying. Okay, Karenga's framework is not a universal rule that groups have no culture. He's misapplying that to suggest that he's a dummy. He's a dummy. So, brother, just so you know, many cultures have plural mythologies, right? Mixed political forms and contested ethos, especially in modern states. Okay, so if you apply Frankenstein's standard, Karenga's standard consistently, then huge portions of modern populations, including many post-colonial nations, post-colonial nations like Nigeria would be declared cultureless according to Karenga's framework, the way he's applying it, misapplying it, because their institutions are hybrid, contested, and shaped by coloniality. Okay, so obviously that's false. Oh, God. So now he's going to go into we don't speak an African language, therefore we're lost. All right. This keep in mind, family. This is uh how much money are they getting paid? It can't be a lot. These guys are bums, man. These guys are bums. So I mean, what they added $50 more to the Social Security check. Like these guys are bums. They're not living large. So, yo, what is it? What is in for you, man? Some promise? You're gonna be the king of FBAs?
And lastly is the linguistic. And so what Sheikh Hanti Diop has argued is that once you lose the linguistic factor, you cease to be yourself.
Okay, yeah. Once you use the linguistic factor, you cease to be yourself. Now he keeps quoting these African quote unquote scholars as though they're the rule of thumb. Okay, hey bro, Frankenstein. Diasporas commonly undergo language shift, yet retain strong cultural continuity through ritual, kinship, religion, music, and social norms. Okay, so Foundation Black Americans. Okay, we didn't retain African languages largely due to deliberate suppression, obviously. But that's an argument about oppression, not an argument about the resulting culture is illegitimate. Identity is multi-layered. Language is one axis, not the whole structure. Diasporic cultures are often post-language shift cultures with deep continuity and innovation. Now, when you guys are subscribed to my channel, I talk about part of our culture, we're innovators. This is a fool. Just saying random stuff. All right, let me see what else we got here. Because I ain't about to sit here and do all this, man. Yeah, I'm good. 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 I ain't about to sit here. I ain't about to sit here and just go over this garbage, man. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Like I did enough. I did enough. I'm not. I had more slides, more clips. I'm good. I'm good. Like it's giving me a headache to do. Boring as hell. I'm falling asleep. I'm about to buy some more coffee. Like the dude just cost me money. I'm buying coffee to stay up to listen to this bullshit. So I debunked everybody in this thumbnail. Dr. Ruxpin, Unc Ruckus, and Authoritative Frankenstein. We don't have culture. By his dudes make up their own. Like he went to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia said Foundation Black Americans have culture. He didn't like that, so then he come up with a 900-page book to argue we don't have culture, and I just debunked his major arguments. I mean, it's just garbage, man. It's just garbage. Garbage. You diggy? I ain't about to do that. I ain't going back and forth with these niggas. Okay, one. Okay, one. Yeah. I mean, the hatred, the jealousy, envy, it's just crazy. Again, if you want to have a serious conversation with me or any serious FBA representative, you got to know the talking points. You got to know our major, like all these are side topics. The culture, that's a side topic. Our major topics that you must either agree with or disagree with is delineation and reparations. All right. That's all we want to know. Are you pro delineation for us? Or are you pro reparations? Okay. Once you say yes to both, nah, there's no conversation. I'm good. Nah, there, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'll pass. Because you're not, to me, you're not an obstacle. If you agree with delineation and reparations, move out the way, man. To me, you're just a cloud teacher. No, I don't want to argue culture. I don't want to argue this other stuff. I'm good. But if you are opposed to reparations or delineation, okay, now you got my attention, and now you got my you got my attention. Okay, I want to talk about that. But I'm not about to entertain some side arguments when the major bullet point of our talking points are delineation and reparations. Anything else is just cloud chasing. It's just a gotcha. It's just a gotcha. That's all. It's not a core argument of ours. It's not a core position. Okay. All right. Oh my God. It was so boring. I don't know who's more boring, him or what the hell? I don't know who's more boring, him or that dude, that Libyan dude named Reggie. What's his name? Reverend Reggie, who's always begging for donations. Yeah, I don't know who's worse. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm trying to set up the what we doing tomorrow morning. You did, you know, 'cause we live every morning. You did. All right, all right, all right. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, 'cause our brother was. Yeah, I got some good stuff. It's a new angle. You did. You don't want to miss it. We're so right after this, we're gonna go over hip hop, the origins of hip hop. And I got some DJ Fade stuff for you because he gained a lot of ops all of a sudden when it comes to the origins of hip hop. So we got to defend our brother and help signal boost his side of the story. One second. I'll read some chats. See who's in the building. You dig? Hey, yo, we be lit in the morning. Thank you guys, man. Like I said, next up is we're gonna talk about some hip hop. Switch it up some. You know, you dig? Okay, so who's in the building? We got Buck Horse. We got Youth Juice. You dig? We got Marvin, Roel. We got Emmanuel Brito. TJ's in the building. We got Mad Man in the building. We got Fresh Always. You know he's fresh always. We got Laura's Child. We got Polo Styles. We got Brandon. We got Gail Branch in the building. We got D in the building. We had Q Butter was here. We got Q Butter in the building. We have Crown City in the building. We got Ty B. You dig? Pulling up. We got what else is out there? We got Donnie C. Williams in the building. We got Pit for DR in the building. Ray Ray, I see you, man. Born Enemy, I see you. I see you. We got Stormy Weather pulling up, representing, showing love for the lineage. Yeah, so so the hip hop thing is next. So make sure y'all pull up for that one, man. It's gonna be serious, man. I'm helping the brother out. I'm helping him get his video out there, you dig? So I'm supporting his video. It ain't mine, it's his video. I'm taking no credit. All right, so you know what I mean? But I think it's a good change of topic, change direction. Because I know everybody, you know, I'm cooking everybody, you know, that could be boring. So we're gonna mix it up.